welcome to Linda Hamilton and Furlong and Michael Biehn! All right, guys, we're gonna do a crowd photo. Pull out your cell phones and light them on up. Light them on up. Light them on up. Well, you guys stand right here. Here they are, guys, for the photo. Ready? All right, guys, on the count of three, I want you to go nuts. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
All right, welcome. It's nice to see the family all together. It's the Connors. How are you?
Great, man.
So before I start, I want to make sure we all know that someone had a recent birthday, and that would be Linda. And so we're not going to sing happy birthday to her because I don't want her to be, I want her to love Utah. I want her to think Utah's wonderful.
No, I would actually love it if...
Okay, then we're gonna sing happy birthday to her. All right? So 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Linda Hamilton. Happy birthday to you. Yes.
Thank you.
Good. All right. So happy you could have that. So let's get started. I'm going to ask them each one question, and then we're going to get to the audience because no one's here to see me. Linda, we'll start with you. You are on the Mount Rushmore of badass women in cinema history. So how do you see Sarah Connor in the history of cinema and being a badass lady?
It was a lucky accident, really. I mean, I worked hard, but I think it's like timing, you know, people were ready for that kind of strength. So I consider myself very lucky. I'm not sure about, well, I guess we've proven, I'm like very old now, that it has some staying power. So that's really good to know that I've done one thing besides have children that's going to live beyond me.
Oh, don't. You're Beauty and the Beast. You got Resident Alien that I've been loving you in now. I see you there. I can't wait. I want to see Michael come in to be one of your like head guys that comes in and does some damage. So Michael, it's super nice to meet you. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about you, despite the fact that you play some bad guys on TV. You're real tough, but I hear you're a marshmallow. Is that a true statement?
That I'm a marshmallow?
Yeah, I hear that you're actually a really nice guy.
I've never really been described as that before, a marshmallow. I'm certainly not as tough as the characters that I play, but
it's okay to be a
I like all three of us. I think I take our work really very seriously, and if things feel wrong, I can get a little bit unmarshmallowy. So, you know, I'm an actor, and I played a lot of tough guys. I played a lot of military guys. I played a lot of cops. None of those, you know, but I'm just an actor. You know, I've had the opportunity to play some great roles.
So my question for you, because that wasn't my question, that was just me letting everybody know you're really a nice guy. You've worked with James Cameron a lot. You've worked with him in The Abyss, you were in Aliens, you've worked in so many things. I know he's a creative genius, but
I slept with them.
I like how she makes an assumption that she's the only one in the panel that's done that.
So did I.
What makes him such a unique, singular type of director?
You know, it's very hard for me to explain his type of genius. Something happened recently that I saw an X going around, and Elon Musk had either retweeted it or tweeted it. And when we're in the Terminator, and Kyle Reese is talking to Sarah Connor, we're in the car, and I'm explaining to her the future, and this is going to happen, and that's going to happen. And she says to me, "That can't happen." And Kyle Reese says to her, "No, not for about 40 years. Okay, that was in 1984. It's now 2004. It's exactly 40 years later, and look at all the AI that we're dealing with. Now, I don't know if, normally I would think, oh, he just got lucky, but I have a feeling that Jim picked that number for a reason, and that kind of mindset is hard for me to understand. He is also the hardest working person I have ever met in my life. He works 18-hour days every day of the week. I believe when I was working with him, just works so hard, obviously because he loves what he does. And I've had nothing but good experiences with him. Nothing but good experiences, yeah.
Edward, we got to see each other in Texas a little while ago. Yeah. And you got kind of thrust into this huge franchise at a very young age. With two of the biggest stars of the 80s. You've had Arnold Schwarzenegger and, of course, Linda.
Yeah.
What is the takeaway that you still use today that you learned from either Linda, Arnold, or both?
Well, I got spoiled, man. I mean, like, obviously, Terminator changed my life, and, I think we worked for like 9 months on it, and it was crazy kind of going to movies after that, because none of them were exactly like, like you're talking about Jim Cameron, and working with a director like that who knows exactly what they want, and it's just like, you're safe, and you know it's going to be good. And working with Linda and Arnold, like such professionals and such good, Linda's such a great actor too, and just having that experience, it was wild. I was wild, and then it was kind of like, you go to the next movie after that, and it's like, what is this, like, rinky-dink shit? You know what I mean? Like a normal movie, But yeah.
You started up, it was so high that it was almost impossible the next thing could be better.
It was just like, I had no idea how big it was. I'd never made a movie, so I had no idea what I was, like, it's just my first experience, so, yeah.
Well, I'm going to let Adam unleash the crowd. Good to see Adam. And we're going to get our questions from them. I'm done, so I'll just let you guys go.
I almost forgot my question. I got so nervous. But
I'm nervous too.
Thank you guys for coming. You guys are wonderful, and we love all of you. My first question, well, just a little background. So we're all in the year 2024, and I believe a lot of future scenes in Terminator 2 take place in the year 2029, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, we're getting closer to that year, 2029. Thankfully, we're not in a dystopian future. However, there is a lot of advancement of AI going on currently, and it's just progressing at a tremendous rate. And my question to you is, how do you feel about this advancement of AI? Like, ever since you made the Terminator movies, does it give you a glimmer of hope for the future? Or does it do the opposite and maybe terrify you a little bit more?
For me, I don't know, I think our constant, curiosity kind of drives this stuff, so I mean, there's no way to stop it. But, I don't know, maybe I'm dumb, but I'm not freaked out by AI yet. I mean, I think it's fascinating, but I don't know. I think we're a long way off. That's my personal opinion.
I think it's very good that we did that film as a little niggling voice, the cautionary tale that is still living in some people's imaginations and memories. I don't know about AI. I mean, I'm glad that I only have like 15 more years on this planet. I'm out.
Because that's the one thing that happens all the time is anytime dystopian future is even mentioned, they all say Skynet, Skynet, Skynet. It's so impactful. The movie has been so impactful. It's no longer just a movie. It's part of the lexicon of explaining what's going on.
Yeah, never saw that one coming, but.
Next.
Yeah, so thank you guys for being here as well. And Terminator in 1984 and the years leading up to its release was a pretty small film on a measly budget of $6.4 million, which even for the time was little. James Cameron was kind of an unknown figure. So did you guys have any idea what kind of impact that would have on the landscape of action filmmaking, or was it just kind of like, oh, this is a Star Wars type of deal where I don't think this is going anywhere, or did you know right away this is going to be special?
I'll lead with that one. No, I had no idea. I was a little leery of it because Arnold was the star, and I don't know, like New York actress snob, kind of like, ooh, Arnold, like, how is this gonna work? My people were very excited, but I was just kind of like, but then I went to set. Before I started, I went and I watched, and I thought, okay, I think we can make this work, and you just really never know. I mean, didn't even know when it came out that it was gonna, all those years later, bloom into such a huge franchise.
Yeah, and for me, people don't realize that in 1984, box office-wise, The Terminator was not in the top 20 movies. Other movies like Ghostbusters and Karate Kid, there are a number of movies that wasn't even in the top 20. So like you said, it was a $6 million movie. It made 40, I think, or something along those lines. And it was sort of this moderate hit. Arnold went on to do Predator right afterwards, but it didn't really change for me. I used to say a lot, and I believe still to this day, that, now I can't think of the name of it, that's how old I am. What do we used to watch videos on?
VHS?
8-track, what?
VHS?
VHS, yeah. I think that most people saw that movie on VHS, not in the theaters. And then, of course, when Jim did T2, it all changed. But nobody, and I mean nobody, saw that movie coming. And even when it came out, nobody was talking about what a brilliant movie it was. I mean, there were some reviewers that liked it, but nobody saw Arnold. No, the only person that knew Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to be a movie star was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Over a period of time now, it's become obviously a classic, but nobody saw that coming at the time. Nobody had any idea that that movie, a year or two after it was made, we'd be talking about 40 years later.
So for the kids, a VHS tape is like a cassette tape. Okay, so a cassette tape is kind of like a thing that never mind. It's
Streaming. For the 80s.
Thank you. Sarah Connor is one of my cinematic heroes. I hate it when my cell phone doesn't work, when my garage door doesn't work, when my blender doesn't work, and I constantly think, I wonder if Linda Hamilton has this problem. She eats Terminators for breakfast. Are the machines just too afraid of her? Or does she have to deal with these screw-ups like everybody else?
I think it might be a little worse for me, like technology knows that I'm the enemy. And they really, they treat me like the enemy. Go figure.
Hello, I just want to say thank you for coming, all three of you. And I have a question just for Linda Hamilton. What was it like working with Pierce Brosnan while filming Dante's Peak? It's one of my favorite disaster movies.
After a while, they decided that they needed to separate us two because we had so much fun. Way too much fun. So he's just the greatest guy and remains that to this day. So we had a rip-roaring good time.
Okay, my question for you about Terminator 2 is, were those truck or car chase scenes and that helicopter real, especially the helicopter going under the bridge, you know, the car crashes, was that practical? And you on a bike being chased by the motorcycle cop? Tell us about it.
All practical. I mean, yeah, I mean, they really sent that thing off the bridge. I think they really did fly the helicopter under the bridge and everything. Yeah, I mean, the only CGI was, you know, kind of some of the liquid metal stuff.
Yeah, that was back when we actually had to do it. It wasn't all the benefit of CGI to do all those crazy things. You actually had to plan it out.
Yeah.
So that was the good old days when, well, also it was a little more dangerous too. But it looked real, it felt real.
Yeah.
How did it feel when you were actually watching it?
You know what? Because it was like my first experience, obviously it was, you know, it's a very slow kind of, just a very long process to make a movie. And I remember Jim, I think the first time I saw any sort of edit of it, like Jim brought me into the editing room, and it was still, they had the REs with the film, with the scissors and all that stuff, and he showed me like some of the river chase, and I remember just kind of my jaw going to the floor and just being like, oh shit, yeah, okay, these guys really know what they're doing, don't they? It's like,
You got the Edward Furlong seal of approval.
and then I just remember seeing the first screening, and it was, I mean, when I read the script, I didn't understand exactly how that was going to work with the lick, and I was just, I mean, I was like everyone else. I'd never seen anything like that, you know, special effects wise. It was wild.
Hey guys, thanks for coming. It's I saw Terminator 2 first, and it was so amazing that I went and I saw Terminator 1. So it was, you all are great. But Linda, this is specifically for you. I love you in Resident Alien. It's so awesome. What made you decide to want to be a part of that quirky, you know, crew, that quirky show?
Resident Alien? Is that what you're asking? Why would I want to do what? You know, sometimes you just go, why not? I hadn't seen it yet, so I took it knowing that they were going to develop the character into something. But then so I took it, and then they showed me the pilot, and just the quality of the writing, because my character isn't in the pilot. So I had already joined up, but I just became an instant fan when they showed it to me. And I love that team. Chris Sheridan is just the greatest writer. You know, he just somehow manages to do funny and poignant so well together. So I'm very happy on that show.
And the new season starts in like 2 weeks, doesn't it? Like October or something?
To shoot?
No, the season 4 comes out on Peacock like in October.
No.
No?
We're just starting to shoot it.
Okay. That's what you're shooting. I knew there's something.
Yeah, so, you know, everything these days has gotten delayed with the strike and COVID, but we haven't shot it yet, so it's probably not
glad
coming
it's
on in
coming.
October.
All right. I knew something was happening in October.
Hello. Well, yeah, welcome all three of you, and happy birthday, Linda. And thank you so very much for coming for this FanX weekend of ours. I have a question. Terminator 2 had a couple of great classic rock songs like Guns N' Roses' "You Can Be Mine," and then George Thorogood's "Back to the Bone." If you guys were able to come together and create your own soundtrack of songs or music that makes you think of the Terminator, any genre and any decade in the past, what would some of them be for the perfect Terminator soundtrack?
What song for the perfect Terminator soundtrack?
I'm passing that on to you, Michael.
I couldn't understand the question. I'm sorry. It's not, by the way, it's not you personally.
Okay.
I have a hard time.
Okay.
Like some part of my hearing, you know, so I have a hard time even
That's fine.
understanding
What song, if you were going to do pick a song that meant a lot,
What?
Terminator. That it encapsulates Terminator 2 or Terminator. What song would you pick?
Well, I don't really know music. The music that I used to listen to, you know, back in the 70s, I can't really come up with kind of a cute answer for this, but I would say that one of the most important things about the Terminator, of course, is Brad Feidel's score. And you gotta really give it up for him. There used to be a show on television when I was young, and I was once. And they would play a song, and then somebody would try to guess as quickly as possible, what's that song? And they would play a couple of notes. And I think with the Terminator, with Brad Feidel's score, you'd only pick, that would be it. And they would never ask it on the show because everybody knows, knows it. So that's my answer for it.
You know what? I was just with Jeanette Goldstein at this other thing, and she was telling me that there's and I don't remember the name of the band or anything, but there's some love song about Todd and Jeanette, the foster parents at the beginning, and it's all about, how she turns into the Terminator and this whole thing. It sounded hilarious. I don't know, Google it or something.
So the ballad of Todd and Jeanette.
Yeah, is that it?
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's something like that. The
That's
ballad.
what I'm helping them
Jeanette.
with Google phrases.
Yeah.
But thank you for your question. We have a pirate next.
Okay. So I'm going to throw a hypothetical scenario at you.
Uh-oh.
Skynet sends a Terminator after all three of you, and there's no Arnold to protect you. Who dies first and who lasts the longest?
I might die first because I just hide under the covers.
I would die second, just because this is such a stud over here.
I don't die.
First off, thank you guys for coming here, and second of all, happy birthday, Miss Linda. My question for you, Miss Linda, from Terminator Dark Fate. Who came up with the idea of Sarah putting her phone in a bag of Lay's potato chips? Does that really work in real life?
My phone never works anyway. I think I've established that. It's technology. You know what? It was in the script, so I can't say who came up with the idea, but I love it. I love the pop doll with Sarah Connor and her potato chips. I actually bought it because I just thought it was so precious. A good idea, but I don't know whose it was.
Hi, question for all three of you. In your careers, what has been the most complicated scene to shoot, whether it be due to the drama complexity or the special effects, or yeah, any of those things? What's been the most complex thing to shoot in your careers?
The hardest scene.
I'll just start while they're thinking, and that is just to stay on the Terminator theme that we've got going here. There's a shot in the Terminator where Arnold is on the front of the car and he smashes his hand through the window of the car and grabs Linda and or Sarah. In that shot, the car wasn't moving. The background, Jim had the background moving, so it looked like the car was going backwards, even though the car was stationary. Arnold was on fire. That was not actually his arm that went through the windshield. That was a fake arm that went through the windshield. And so it was a long setup. And I think we only did it once, but it was a very, very complicated shot. And it had a lot of elements to it, you know, sound and special effects and visual effects, not visual effects per se, but and actors and, you know, stuntmen blowing out the window at the same time as this fake hand goes through it. It was a really complicated shot, and if you see, and it's so interesting that Jim has the background moving, so it looks like, and we're stationary, so it looks like we're moving, it looks like we're in reverse. And if you see the shot in the movie, it's so quick that you can hardly tell. But the idea that he knew that there should be movement is just another testament to that kind of a mind, which I don't have. So that to me was, when I think of the Terminator, was one of the more complicated shots.
There's been a couple of money jobs where it's like I had to convince myself I was gonna, you know, make this work, so that was kind of complicated. But.
I have 1,000 complicated stories. There's no time. Every time I get on set, it's complicated. It's funny because, you know, the stuff that you think is really going to be hard, that you've rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed, you know, you get out there and, like, you make it look easy, right? I mean, the shotgun, okay, we rehearsed it. I worked with this Israeli commando named Uzi.
Aptly named.
And so we did tons of work, but on the day, there are blanks in that gun. We did not rehearse it with blanks. The blanks made the action twice as hard because it's now loaded and heavy, and good luck getting that to spring. So as much as you rehearse, you know, on the day you go like, wait a minute. So you just can't always know the level of difficulty of something. Or then there's a scene like my first day on Stranger Things, which had a lot of nerve, right? I mean, I had nerves. I was completely ready. They started me big, like, you know, the 4th episode, and it's this huge scene, and I'm like, you know, I'm reading the schedule going, there's no way they're starting with this. It's like the big special effects and the big stunt stuff, and like, that's my first day. And then I realized that every day for Stranger Things is like that. Like, everything is big, so it's not about me. Okay, so I was 100% ready. The thing that messed us up on Stranger Things was the first day, I can't tell you anything about the character, except I wear a mask at one point, and so, but it's the 80s, so the masks that we wore in the 80s did not have elastic, right? You tied them around your head. And it's this scene that is nothing about the mask, but the scene became all about the mask, because at the beginning of the scene, I pull it down, and at the end of the scene, it goes back up, but it has to, and I'm wearing a WIG. So now we're dealing with the mask, tying the mask with a wig, and finding, and the folds have to fold down the same way and fold up the same way. It was like the whole effing day was about this mask. Like, not the acting, not about any of the stuff. It was about this mask, which we cut off and burned at the end of the day. You just never know.
Go ahead.
Hi. So my question is, so with Terminator 1 and 2, your guys' chemistry and how you played the roles, I feel like set the foundation for all of these the Terminator verse, really. Because if you think about everything that's happened, so looking back at your roles that you played, is there a scene that you look at, say you're just out and the movie's just on, and you see a scene, what would you say is your favorite scene that you were in that you're like, man, I was so badass, like this scene, and I could give you mine, but this is about you guys, so I just want to know what you guys' favorite scenes in the movies that you did.
And I'll put a caveat, if you don't
favorite scene to watch, or the favorite scene to shoot?
No, not to shoot, but like when you look back at the movie and you see your performance, you're like, man, I nailed it. Like this one scene was so epic.
And also, if you're too humble and you want to say what Linda's greatest scene was, and you want to say what Michael's greatest scene was, I'll give you that caveat as well to bail you out. Because sometimes they don't want to talk about themselves.
You know, to be perfectly honest with you, some scripts are just so good, and the words that you have to say are just so good, and your confidence of the people that you're working with is just so high. You know, I feel very proud of every moment that I'm on camera and with her, and I can't, it's like, you know, picking a favorite child. You know, I thought we all did it. Everybody involved in that movie, everybody from stunts to Jim to acting to Brad to just everything just worked out. So I don't really have a favorite.
Special effects were a little iffy. Remember the night it rained fire?
Yes.
Yeah. Special effects, like our special effects man had a half a burned face. His face was half burned. I mean, like, you know, I was like, never trust a special effects guy that looks like that. He loved fire, and there was a day where it just rained fire. I mean, it's supposed to be, you know, burnt cork, but it came down, it burnt the boom, the script girls, I mean, you know. Do you remember that? Were you there then?
Do you
remember that? Roger George.
Roger George, that was his name, yeah. You know, he was
Pyro.
George the Torch, I believe his name was.
He was responsible for all the explosions that took place on the set. And like Linda said, it's, you know, it doesn't do much for your confidence when the special effects fire guy approaches you and you're introduced to him and like half his face is burnt off. You know, it's just a little bit, yeah. It was actually, we shot the scene, and I believe it was the explosion that was supposed to be the truck, which was also done with a miniature, but it was the explosion when I jump into the trash can, and I believe it was that explosion, and that explosion was so loud and so big that the fire department and the police department from the area that we were shooting in came down and tried to shut us down because it was just too much. And Roger was known for like being over the top, but that that was way, way big. And I'm sure in the background, Jim was probably just going, hee.
You know it's bad when like no one addresses it. I have found that like the few times that it like something really bad happened, there's this silence and then everyone's like, moving on. Like no one will come to you because it just weakens the whole structure and go, oh my God, I'm sorry, are you okay? No one does that. When it's really bad, they just move on. So that's happened a couple of times, and that was one of those moments.
Thank you.
Hi. You all have been involved in such great action films, and I'm sure you've had the chance to work with great stunt choreographers. I was wondering if you had a favorite kind of stunt or a particular stunt that you've enjoyed on any of your productions, or one that you're particularly proud of, especially in terms of stunt choreography?
I want to start with that because I hope you remember, it didn't make it into the movie, but a defining moment in my life was when we were doing, you know, Sarah and Kyle having a little private time before, you know, in between the action bits. There's a scene where I try to run away. You're just discovering a beautiful world. You've never gotten to see the world beautiful. And for some reason I run. I don't even remember. It didn't make it into the movie. But you have to tackle me. We did a flying tackle where I'm running and he comes and tackles me. And it was a total trust exercise. I was not an athlete on any level. But I had to sort of launch myself, and he had to catch me midair and roll. Do you remember that? Roll to sort of save us both. And it, to me, was a defining moment to be able to trust that someone's going to catch you when you launch yourself into the air. And I just remember that as like a real moment. I loved him even more. He caught me.
Gotta protect the star. We have to protect the star in the movie. One of my favorite shots in the movie is when they're chasing Kyle Reese around the department store, and he goes out the fire escape, and he drops from the fire escape. That's about it was like a 12-foot drop, and then Kyle Reese drops from the fire escape and then runs up behind the car and then comes around the side of the car and grabs the shotgun. And what's cool about that shot is that it's a stuntman who is taking that 10-foot jump off the fire escape. I'm already behind the car, so he jumps off the fire escape all in one shot, comes running up behind the car, then it's my turn. I come out the side, the stuntman stays there, I grab the shotgun and move on. And that was a fun one. Another stunt that, again, you don't realize it, but when Kyle Reese, you know, comes into the future, comes into the now, he obviously comes in nude, and we shot that on the streets of LA, and that was not me who did that fall nude. That was about this high. It was pretty high, and the stunt guy was obviously nude with his, you know. And when Jim said action, this guy just he had a low shot. It was wide. This guy just had to go like sideways and like right onto the like cement. And it was like, I've been doing a lot of action movies for a long time, and I've never seen a stunt that is as, you know, there's just no, that's what he wanted. And it was, you know, he wanted to come in it had to have been 5 or 6 feet, and it looked really painful. So those are my 2 stunt stories from the Terminator.
You know what's funny? What I was just reminded of is actually you guys talking about raining fire and shit, and I remember there was like, it was nothing. There was like, literally, it was like me, you, and Arnold going through this like little door, but they had a little hose that would put just a little bit of fire, and they had all these like, you know, firemen with, you know, just ready to spray us off if anything happened, and Jim was like, you know, so you guys are gonna go through the door, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that, and yeah, so I guess I was just kind of a pussy, huh?
But I did it.
Well, unfortunately, we are behind.
I remember that one in particular because it was a door on fire, and it's just running through a door. But my hair was like tinder, you know what I mean? This long hair that's just like, that's gonna catch fire. If any bit of this long hair would be like, game over. So, you know, those are the things that you go, wow, I really did that, you know?
Well, game over is an appropriate spot because we have a hard out, so unfortunately we can't get to our other questionnaires, but we definitely appreciate you being here. I'm sorry, it's just a matter of timing. So please give a huge FanX thank you to Linda Hamilton.